This villa is worth 3 crores plus, and he is the proud owner. Meet Ravindra, who is now financially free and has a corpus of 10 crores plus. But his journey was not so easy.
2020 January, COVID happened and my portfolio or entire net worth became like 75 lakhs.
But then he made some key changes in his investment journey.
I did a very simple calculation, looked at the monthly expenditure and then multiplied by 30. And then it came to about 6.5 crores those days. But then 2014, I changed my game plan completely. So I took a very bold decision that point of time. I'll put 100%. I created a separate bank account. Any day-to-day expenses, I would actually pick up from this account. That's where I would live the life, closed all the loans. So whatever the money that salary I'm getting, everything goes to.
So let's learn from his experience that you can apply in your financial journey as well. Hi Ravindra.
Hi.
Welcome to Power Pioneers. Today as we speak, right, you are financially free. What's your FIRE number? And then how did you plan for that?
So 2014, first time I saw there were layoffs in the company that I was working. And I saw some of my colleagues and friends, they're losing the jobs. I felt this could happen to me as well. That's where I wanted to go back and then see how many months I can survive if I lose my job. So I did the calculation and then that point of time it was 20 lakhs. So now if I lose my job, I will probably survive for about 20 months. So that's where I started building that little Excel sheet that I had, and every month I started tracking. But then 2016, I reached my first 1 crore. Then my game plan actually changed. I do not want to really worry about survival because I'm okay right now. But then I want to really look at when can I retire. I did a very simple calculation, looked at the monthly expenditure and then multiplied by 30. And then it came to about 6.5 crores those days. And then, as I said, when I reached COVID kind of a time frame, I looked at pretty much pandemic and then people needed probably a lot more money. When you get into those kind of situations, then I have increased that number from 6.5 crores to 10 crores. Eventually, I met that number a couple of years ago, and then I started thinking, while I became a financially independent, should I really quit the job or not? But I got a great opportunities to work with very good companies and also good people. I was really hesitant to quit the job. So that's the reason I continued in the job. Finally, this year, I also want to do a startup.
Okay.
That's the reason I thought, okay, let me quit and then do so. That's what it is.
Got it. Great. So, Ravindra, would you like walk us through your portfolio, the values over the years? I've heard like reaching that first 1 crore milestone is the tough part, and then wealth multiplies beyond that. So how has your experience been through that?
2017, I reached my first crore.
Okay. 2014, it was 20 lakhs you mentioned.
I agree, absolutely.
Yeah.
So 2017, I reached my first crore, and 2020, second crore. But then that was 2020 January or February kind of time frame. I was celebrating, but then COVID happened, and my portfolio or entire net worth became like 75 lakhs.
From 2 crore to 75.
Absolutely, yeah. So it was shocking to me personally, but I had to stay invested. But thankfully, because I stayed invested by 2021, somewhere in the middle, I think I reached about 3 crores. Very surprisingly, 2023, by end of that year, I have reached 10 crores.
Wow, that's more than exponential.
Agree.
That's amazing. You talked about this Excel. In this Excel, all the calculations start from 2014.
That's right.
And you started working in 98.
That's right.
So what happened in that 14 year, and it's 16 years of work before and then 10 years after. What was your approaches towards finance before 2014 and then after that?
So I started investing into stocks back in 2000. That was my first
2000,
stock
okay.
investment, right? So, but then after 2000, there was a September 11 attack, and then there was a Parliament attack. That was very small portfolio, like 1 lakh kind of thing. And then I was not very long-term investor. So usually I buy some stock. As soon as it reaches 10%, I would exit and then try to find one more opportunity. That's which I was doing till 2014.
Okay.
So
direct equities.
Mostly equity and then some mutual funds.
Okay.
But again, there also the same story. I would invest in some mutual funds. As soon as they reach about 10-15%, I would exit. And then I would wait for some time and then try to see one more opportunity. But then 2014, I changed my game plan completely. So I took a very bold decision at that point of time, saying that I'm not worried about 20%, 30%. I'll put 100%.
Okay.
Obviously, when you're putting all your salary, you need to have some money to survive. So I created a separate bank account, which is about 3-4 lakhs, and then said that any day-to-day expenditure, except the school fees, which are obviously higher, any day-to-day expenses I would actually pick up from this account, and that's where I would live the life.
Okay.
So only one thing is I do not have any loans that point of time. That really helped me. As soon as that instant the layoffs, right? I closed all the loans. I did not have any housing loan, car loan.
Okay.
And then because I'm kind of zero debt, so whatever the money that I salary I'm getting, either it is 1 lakh or 1.2 lakhs or whatever, everything goes to stocks and mutual funds.
Okay.
That's what I did. And initial days I was not very familiar with what kind of stocks that we need to look at. I usually used to pick up what are the stocks that I know, the companies that I worked, and also at least some of the stocks that I saw around me. Those stocks I used to invest, and there was no strategic planning, etc. 2013, I did my senior management program from IIMC. That's where I got introduced to derivatives and options and futures.
Okay.
2014, first time I bought one futures, and then there was a new government formed, and then the stock actually gave me almost like 5 lakh returns. I invested probably 2 lakhs and then gave me 5 lakhs. I was absolutely surprised and shocked. But the next week I invested again, I lost half of money. And then finally I said that probably this is not for me, and I quit derivatives that point of time.
Okay.
But again, I picked up in 2019.
Okay.
But the investment strategy of putting all your salary into either mutual funds or the stocks, that helped me tremendously.
Okay, got it. Coming to the portfolio allocation, right? I think 2014, around 20 lakhs of portfolio versus 24, 10 crore plus. How has your allocation changed over the years? What was it back then, and how did that change?
As of today, it stays about 65% in stocks, and then the close to about 15% goes to mutual funds.
Okay.
And then I also have the PF, the virtue of in the job, that is about 10%, and then real estate is only about 9%.
Okay.
I don't think the percentage wise the numbers changed quite drastically. I always maintain this 60-65%.
In stocks.
Stocks always. Yeah.
Got it.
I think I'll continue to do that as well. I mean, there is always people suggest that as you reach some certain age, you should get into debt funds or whatever. But generally, by looking at the history of the stock market, it always CAGR is close to about 13 to 15%. So I'm not expecting that it's going to go down.
Got it. Got it. Could you help in that framework of how you managed your expenses over the years to ensure that you invest and build that corpus, initial corpus?
Great question. So generally, if the normal expenses anyway, you have the credit card and the bank account, right? So you would tap into that thing. But then if it is, let's say, school fees or the college fees, which are substantial nowadays, where you have to, let's say, pay 5 lakhs or 6 lakhs or whatever. So that point of time, I would exit the whatever the stocks that are making profit. I would simply exit them and then make the funds for this. But the normal expenditure, it's like a whatever there is in the bank account. That's what it is.
Okay. And what percentage of your salary were you have you been investing all throughout last 10 years?
Until I'm in the full-time job on 100%. There is no change. Right now, I'm also doing options trading. I do not want to put a lot of effort in stock selection. So that's where I felt I should probably move a lot of my money to mutual fund SIPs. So January onwards, it's about 12 lakh SIPs that I'm running. Yeah.
Per month?
Per month. Yeah.
And out of that 12 lakh, how do you allocate it within mutual funds?
So large cap, I put about 40%, and small and mid cap is about 20 each. That gives about 80%. The remaining 20% I had put into gold.
Okay.
Gold is a bit of a interesting story because I never believed that gold is the right investment. But then I did a simple calculation very recently, and then what I found was, so from 2000, that's where I started investing. You compare gold and then Sensex, so gold started giving more returns.
Okay.
So that's where I felt there got to be some portfolio in the gold. So that's where 20% I started putting into.
But you invest in gold via mutual funds?
Always mutual funds, not the physical gold.
Not physical gold. Got it. What is your framework of selecting a mutual fund?
So typically mutual funds, I do not spend a lot of time and effort. The reason is there are mutual fund managers already who are managing. So my selection is typically if they are giving, let's say, last 3 years, there is some good returns, let's say at least above 15%, I would think that they would keep performing.
Okay.
So my way of looking at is, as I said, I definitely put into large cap, mid cap, and then small cap, and also I started putting into gold. And recently I started also putting into momentum mutual fund. So
Okay.
there, it's based on the Nifty Momentum Index. So again, it's a kind of an ETF fund. So I think that's how it is. So.
Okay, got it. Big part of your portfolio is in direct equity. So is there a framework you have on how to invest? And then for a beginner, how should one look at investing in stocks
That's right.
directly?
The first thing that I would look at is the fundamental analysis. Generally, if a company, the revenues are growing quarter on quarter, that's a
Okay.
good indication that the company is doing good. The second one is the margins or the profits are going up quarter
Okay.
on quarter. That is also a good thing. The third one is employee strength is also going, which means that they're actually not cutting the employees to make the profits. So if
Okay.
all these three parameters are actually positive, I would think that the company is doing a good job. The second one I would look at is technical analysis. So one thing is definitely golden cross. It's a combination of 200 moving average and
Okay.
50 moving average. The second, I also look at the RSI, which is oversold and overbought. The third is I also look at the money flow index. Money flow index is whether the money is actually flowing into the stock or not. Other than this, I also would look at the crossover of multiple moving averages and then see whether I can buy the stock or not.
Got
And
it.
also there is the Darvas box, which I learned very recently. That also helped me quite a bit.
Got it.
These are all the multiple approaches that I would look at. Other than this, let's say somebody doesn't want to spend any time there. I also do quite a bit of investments in the bonus stocks. Take the case of, let's say, Reliance. Reliance, in fact, got into bonus stocks back in 2020 or 21. And then the stock price was originally about 1800 and then it came back to 900 or whatever.
Okay.
And then once you got the bonus stocks and then the stock again reached back to 1800 within no time.
Okay.
So mathematically it doesn't make sense, but from the investment perspective it does make a lot of sense.
Understood. Understood. But then to avail bonus stocks, you have to hold the
You
stocks.
need to hold the stock as of the record date, and usually they would announce the record date. Before that date, you need to own the bonus stocks, and the split also works in similar way. The only difference is in the case of split, your face value of the stock would become, let's say if they do 1:1, it will become from the 10 rupees to face value will become 5 rupees. But bonus stocks, the face value remains pretty much similar. So.
Oh, okay.
So those are the two things that I do, and also there is third one, which is the rights issue. Let's say if you're owning 100 stocks, they'll say that I'm going to give you 5 stocks. If the stock is trading at about 200 rupees, I'm going to give you these 5 stocks for, let's say, 150 rupees. So then you will be able to make some money out there. So these are the 3 things that I actively invest. Other than the fundamental and then the technical analysis. So a lot of people in India, I know they invest in real estate, but personally, the real estate did not work for me. Wherever I wanted to put money, there were some scams or the cheating or whatever. I couldn't make a lot of money there. So stock market for me, it's very transparent. You can always exit a stock if you think that the company is not doing good. You do not have any obligation to realistic. Compared to real estate, once you buy a property, it's almost impossible for you to come out. So I think that's where I like the stock market.
Got it. You spoke about options trading as a big part of your portfolio, and that's what you're doing full time now. So, as Sevi says, right, 90% of the people lose money, and you are one of those 10% who make money. So, what is your framework in options trading? And if I am a beginner today, how should I approach exploring options trading?
Great. So I'm very fortunate to be part of that 10%. But then I started this journey back in 2019, and then I started putting a capital of about 1 crore into that particular instrument. And I also use some mathematics of the probability. So I do sell it's called in the options trading, it's called the OTM, which is out of the money.
Okay.
For example, let's say if Nifty is trading at about, let's say today, 25,400 or whatever, I go and then sell a call option at about 26,000. Which is a monthly expiry. I also sell a put option at 24,500.
Okay.
And then anything that I do, there is a hedge. The hedge is going to be, let's say, 26,500 call option I'm going to buy. And below, I would probably buy 24,000 put option. So it's called iron condor in the options terminology.
And you said you invested 1 crore of the capital. So is it your capital, or because I understand there's also leverage that you can take?
The way which it works is, let's say you have stocks worth of, let's say, 3 crores, or let's say, just for the argument's sake, 1.5 crores. So now when you pledge those stocks, you get the margin. All the brokers, they take haircut typically 20 to 25%. Let's say if you pledge for 1 crore, you get a capital of about 75 lakhs or 80 lakhs.
Okay.
And that you can actually use for options selling or options writing. But you can't use this for options buying. So options buying, you need to have the real cash.
Oh, okay.
So typically what I do is the stocks that I have, I pledge them, I get the margin, and
Okay.
I trade only with them.
Got it. So you're actually using leveraged money, like not your actual money, but you're
Absolutely.
taking leverage on that 20
Absolutely.
lakhs of your stocks. Great. So if I'm a beginner today and I want to explore options trading, what would be your advice?
So my suggestion is, first thing is there got to be sufficient capital. At
Okay.
least if somebody wants to start, at least 25 lakhs to start with.
Okay.
But then keeping the capital aside, there got to be definitely, there will be some learning curve. The learning curve would be, I would expect the somebody to know how the market would move. When I say market, take the any index out of all the indices, probably pick up Nifty. And then how the Nifty moves and what are the parameters that would impact Nifty. Obviously, they need to understand what is a put option, what is a call option. So they need to understand what is time decay at least. I think once they know all these things, and I would probably expect people to probably start with a short triangle, which is a monthly expiry.
Okay.
And then see how it works, and then depending on that, they can get on to weekly expiry, and then they can get on to day trading.
Got it. I think important point is if you're willing to lose 25 lakhs of that
Absolutely.
capital means, your portfolio should be of a sizable amount before venturing into
Agree,
this.
absolutely. I think whatever I earn from options, I would consider as a bonus, not necessarily a real income. So if it gets, it gets. If it doesn't get, I think that's okay.
Got it. Got it. And, moving to the other section, which is real estate, right? And we are sitting in this beautiful villa that you recently bought. So what's your approach to real estate? Do you look at it as an investment? And what's your home buying process journey been like?
So real estate, I will not look at as an investment at all. So I do believe each one of us should have one house. That's all, not more than that. So I bought my first house in 2000. Again, that's for living.
Okay.
So as soon as we bought,
So that's 2 years after you started earning, right?
I agree, absolutely.
Yeah.
Got the loan of about 8 lakhs, and then while I was in Australia, I was able to contribute to my parents' house and also this house. And then eventually I closed that loan in 2008.
Okay.
And then when I closed the loan, I wanted to buy something bigger, better.
Okay.
And then 2009, we bought a villa in Whitefield.
Okay.
Again, those days it was not very costly. It was 60 lakhs. And then I took a loan of about 35 lakhs that point of time. And the remaining money I paid through
This
stocks
is
or
what
mutual
year?
funds.
8, 9?
This was 2009 exactly.
Okay.
After we bought, we had 2 houses. One we gave it for rent, and then we started living there in 2010.
Okay, so you
onwards.
didn't sell the previous one?
We did
You
not
bought-
sell.
Okay.
Yeah. And then 2014, when I took the strategic decision to really become a debt free and also wanted to put all my salary, I sold the old house, which I bought
Okay.
for 10 lakhs to, I think I got about 30 lakhs.
Okay.
So, and then I closed the housing loan that I took for the new
Okay.
villa. We were in Hyderabad for about 4 years and then came back here almost 3 years ago. So as soon as we came back, we wanted to buy a new house because the villa that we have, we give it for rent. And then that's where we rented a house in HSR. I started looking at all the properties, and then I spent about 1.5 years to look at pretty much everything. And then finally we liked this. I paid 2 crores from my pocket, and then 1 crore I took a loan. The reason I took a loan was currently housing loan is about 8.5%, and also by the time I'm also very familiar with options trading. So my calculation is, even if I'm able to make 2% in a month from options, which is technically possible, I can actually pay the EMI through the money that I get from options. So that's what which I'm doing today.
Got it.
So that's the reason I took that 1 crore loan.
Got it. No, that's amazing. So essentially, you always bought houses for consumption, not
Absolutely.
for investment.
Never investment, yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. No, that's great. Now that you're financially free, I think last question is, how is life beyond this?
Life is fabulous, to be honest. I always wanted to reach here, and then there is no boss who dictates saying that only you need to do certain things, right? So there is a lot of freedom, to be honest. And then I will also tell you, from 2017 onwards, I was working with US MNCs, and it's very difficult. I would very rarely go for dinner. The reason is you get into calls until 10, 11 o'clock, and then pretty much you forget about dinners. And even if you want to eat something, you eat very quickly. But today, after 4:30, once the market closes, I'm absolutely free bird. I can do whatever I want. I think That's a great feeling, to be honest.
Wow, that's great. Any advice that you have for, someone who is in their late 20s, early 30s, planning for, financial freedom? Any advice for
So I
them?
would think the advice is definitely stay invested. Do not lose the discipline or the consistency. My view, if somebody wants to really forget about the retirement, but even to become a financially independent, the initial days of consistency and the discipline is going to lot more be useful. And also, I think one thing that we should not forget, there is a saying, right? The compounding is the eighth wonder. I think people need to believe in that, and then the more you save in the initial days, initial years, that will have a lot of compounding impact, and then they will be able to become rich a lot more quicker.
Wow. Okay, Ravindra. So, rapid fire time. What's your net worth today?
It's 10 plus crores.
Okay. What do you do for a living?
Today I do trading, and I am also working on building the startup.
Okay. What's the most expensive purchase that you have done?
I think this watch,
How much does it cost?
Omega C-Master, it's about 12 lakhs.
Oh, wow. What's the best financial advice that you have ever received?
I think it came from my dad. What he said was, do not run behind the money, let it come to you.
Nice. And what's one regret that you have with your money experience?
My initial days, my investment strategy was very sporadic. I wish I did a long-term investment starting from 2000, which I did not.
Got it. And what is one advice that you would give to a 25-year-old today?
So 25-year-old, I suggest probably save 50% of your the salary, whatever it is coming, and then probably stocks, mutual funds, whatever works for you, and stay invested for long term. I would expect they will get a lot of benefits around the compounding.
Thank you so much for taking out the time. I had such a great time talking.